All right, everyone, we now have Q1 numbers for the U.S. economy, and they're not looking that good. The real change over quarter was only 1.6%. That does not keep pace with the Bidenflation rate that we have, so people have just lost more money over that quarter. They were expecting 2.5, which would still be like, yeah, you're breaking even, basically, or something along those lines. No, it came in far below expected, so another warning sign. Add this to the bank run that we saw late last year, the Bidenflation, the rise in home credit, that is the debt that homes have, that homeowners have, the rise in prices in general, especially with core inflation, food certainly, the uptick in gas prices recently in some parts of the country, a significant one, certainly here, it's like 30 cents over the course of a single month or something like that. Yeah, that does eat into literally everything else because travel becomes more expensive. The gasoline used for short-haul trucking and stuff like that becomes more expensive. It tends to trickle down with fuel prices up and wages depressed, partially because of the migrant crisis, the Biden border crisis. Things really couldn't get worse economically. I still hear, though, people who have comfortable $500,000 plus a year salaries rambling on their blogs about how great the Biden economy is and telling people, well, it's all in your head. It's like the ultimate gaslight. Economic news over the last year especially has been nothing but a slurry of gaslighting. Paul Krugman and all of the others on down. It's a pathetic economy. It's not working for the average person. Again, I make a comfortable living, but I get sticker shock when I buy fucking pickles. I'll always use that example because I really love pickles. I'm going to have to make my own because it's so much cheaper. And, fridge pickles are pretty easy, and then you're just brining strips of washed cucumber and stuff like that. So it's not exactly the most difficult thing in the world to make. I'll make do. Don't worry. I will reestablish the pickle supply. By the way, as an interesting aside, I was unaware that there was pickle-flavored ketchup, actually. I don't know if that's a thing in the United States, but I saw it on the shelf at the Jumbo in the Netherlands, and I'm like, what? People, apparently they buy it because they're manufacturing it. They wouldn't if there was no demand. This is Bidenomics in action. Bidenomics means choosing between, well, if you're lucky and you have, a regular job, you can get a side hustle or something like that. If you're unlucky, you have to take out a credit card to buy groceries. If you're a bit beyond that, so upper middle class or something like a working rich, it means, hey, I was going to, invest more in my kid's trust fund or something, but I don't know, I just can't swing it because there are taxes to pay. By the way, Biden proposing an absolutely insane capital gains tax increase. We'll be talking about that in today's live stream. Also, please tell me if my audio is good because I did get my new microphone inserted here, so the hope is that you can hear me a lot more clearly than when I'm using the Logitech Brio. It's not bad, but it's not exactly good either. This is a Yeti X, so it should be considerably better. It's a terrible economy. And again, there's enough gaslighting to burn up the Hindenburg at this point. It's insane to listen to some of the left-leaning economic wonks effectively attempt to become psychologists and just blame people for noticing the fact that the economy is poor. Second jobs being taken out. Now you have low unemployment. That means that not everyone's going to be able to get that side hustle. You're already working a 40-hour week. You'll be lucky if you can find something that fits in with that schedule. I mean, you don't want to work 7 days a week. It shouldn't be necessary for someone that has a relatively standard job. They're making, $50K a year or something, but then they go into the grocery store and they're like, I need more money. Well, then I have to work harder to produce things so that the overflow of goods can continue to fuck with the economy. Now we've got the Q1 numbers, and they ain't pretty. 2.5, I mean, they were hoping for, they had 3.4 for the last quarter of last year. That at least keeps pace with the Bidenflation. I would also point out the growth of the economy at large and the increase in wealth doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to the people that actually need it. It's going to the 1%, basically. Under the Bidenomic economy also, you've got to understand that a lot of that hyperinflated funny money is simply being hoarded and used and traded around among the upper echelons of society. It's not really doing anything for the working class or the middle class. It's their wages, in general are increasing, but it doesn't keep pace with the rising costs. So there's more money, but it's not in the right hands. It's not in the hands of the poor or again, the core middle class of the United States, from working through lower middle, middle, and upper middle, the vast bulk of the population. They're not the ones that are getting ahead. It's disproportionately billionaire, the people that Biden supposedly wants to go after for tax purposes, which is bollocks. He's not going to go after the billionaires. He's going to go after people in that sweet spot in the middle and upper middle class who happen to be political dissidents. Those are the people that the newly incepted raise in the IRS are going to target. It's not going to be the millionaires. Maybe some of the working rich, a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. Why would you bite the hand that feeds you? Where do you think all of Biden's war chest money is coming from? Do you think that it's coming from the average Joe? No, it's not coming from Joe the plumber. It's coming from Joe the corporate CEO. Where it's good, they're not going to do that. That's why also the capital gains raise probably won't happen. Oh, that'll be shielded from even by some Democrats. They'll be like, well, I was going to sell this investment. I don't really want to have to pay several million extra dollars in taxes on it. Well, I've got an accountant friend who can probably fudge the numbers, but I'd rather just not raise the rate. It will stymie the economy. By the way, the exact opposite of what you should be doing if you want to reverse this trend of a relatively mediocre economy with regards to growth. 1.6 is not enough to keep pace with inflation, not by far. And so the economy is expanding, but the economy is also being watered down. It's being literally diluted right now. And in fact, in order to put this genie back in the bottle, what you need is like a Javier Milei style thing where you slash regulations, you slash the size of government, you slash taxes considerably. We're talking by a double-digit total. For all echelons of society, by the way, including the working middle, upper middle class, even the poor. And you try to stimulate the economy. Yeah, you go through there are some bumps in the road, by the way, on the way. It's like when you want a plane to take off, first you have to taxi down the runway. Isn't it a little bit on the bumpy side? That's what we need to do. Right now, Biden is just swinging that plane in slow circles, and all the air traffic controllers are wondering what the fuck is going on. Except for Paul Krugman. He sees no problem with this. He's like, well, if it keeps moving, eventually it'll get to its destination. Well, no, that's not the way that it works. I was told that there should be a golden age right now, that the economy should be roaring ahead, like it should be 1921 all over again or something. I was also told that Donald Trump would collapse the economy, cause World War III, and we'd be in a Great Depression right now. Well, actually, we'd be pockmarked with nuclear craters, but that didn't happen now, did it? I remember those good years. It's been a while. It's been a few years since things have been good on an economic basis, you will know. Q1 coming in extremely sluggishly, not keeping pace with inflation, not even by half. Really a terrible economy. Look at the rise in privately held debt from credit cards. That alone should justify the opinion that the economy is clearly not working well. Normally that would be associated with a good economy. People take out credit because they're like, well, I can upgrade my lifestyle comfortably. Wages are rising ahead of inflation. Inflation is controlled. I feel optimistic, so I can loosen my purse strings a little bit and get a new refrigerator or something like that, like in the 80s. And people paid a heavy price, by the way, for that freewheeling mentality in the uppy days. Not all of them made it. Not all of them can make their payments. Some of them ended up bankrupt, actually. Now, though, you've got the problem where the debt is being used to buy basic necessities. And that's the long and short of it. That is not structurally what you would define as a strong economy. Indeed, these numbers once again prove that Bidenomics has been a failure. That's about all. Peace out.